Drug money won't save you here, sweetheart. Officer Brian Thompson slams his fist against the Mercedes window, his face twisted with rage. The tinted glass reflects his red, sweating face as a calm, feminine voice responds. Officer, what is the legal basis for this stop? Thompson rips his weapon from its holster, pointing it downward but visible. Legal basis? Where'd you steal this fancy car from? Some rich white family's driveway? He kicks the Mercedes tire, leaving a black scuff mark on the pristine chrome wheel. Out of the car now, or I'll smash this window myself. Veins bulge in his neck as he raises his baton toward the glass. Inside the vehicle, something metallic catches the morning light on the driver's shoulder. Something that glimmers like stars, something Thompson cannot see clearly enough to recognize. Have you ever witnessed someone assume that success must be criminal simply because of the color of someone's skin? The alarm clock rings as she prepares for her morning routine at Fort Moore. Brigadier General Carla Jenkins laces her running shoes with military precision. Each movement deliberate and practiced, the morning air carries the scent of pine needles and fresh-cut grass as she begins her daily run through the base. Her breath forms small clouds in the cool air as her feet pound the asphalt in perfect rhythm. Years of military service have carved discipline into every fiber of her being. 3 combat deployments, a Bronze Star gleaming in her trophy case back home. She commands respect not through intimidation, but through proven leadership under fire. The base comes alive around her as she runs. Young soldiers salute as she passes, their faces showing genuine admiration for the woman who broke barriers to become the first African-American female commander of the Regional National Guard Division. Jenkins returns each salute with a crisp nod, never breaking stride. Back in her quarters, Jenkins showers and dresses in her full military dress uniform. The deep blue fabric contrasts sharply against her dark skin. Silver stars catch the morning light on her shoulders, hard-earned symbols of authority that took decades to achieve. Rows of ribbons tell the story of her service. Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Combat Action Badge. Each one represents sacrifice, dedication, and excellence under pressure. Her Mercedes-Benz sits in the driveway, a personal reward for years of disciplined saving and military bonuses. The black paint gleams like obsidian in the morning sun. This car represents more than transportation. It's proof that hard work and dedication can lead to success regardless of background or barriers. Today's mission is straightforward. Drive to the Oakwood Heights Police Department for a crucial meeting with Chief Edward Collins about joint military-civilian training exercises. The route takes her directly through the wealthiest neighborhood in the county, where million-dollar homes line tree-lined streets like monuments to old money. Meanwhile, some distance away, Officer Brian Thompson adjusts his rear-view mirror and checks his weapon for the 3rd time this morning. His patrol car reeks of stale coffee and bitter resentment. His time on the force, and he's still driving the same beat while watching lesser-qualified officers get promoted around him. Thompson's worldview is simple and toxic. Expensive possessions in the hands of people of color automatically indicate criminal activity. His mental database catalogs every luxury vehicle in Oakwood Heights by owner and presumed legitimacy. A black woman driving a Mercedes doesn't compute in his racist mathematics. The neighborhood Thompson patrols represents everything he believes he's protecting. Oakwood Heights, with its mostly white population and high median income. Manicured lawns stretch between houses that cost more than most people earn in a lifetime. Halloween decorations dot perfectly maintained yards, carved pumpkins, and artificial spiderwebs hanging from oak trees older than the civil rights movement. This community prides itself on being crime-free, a designation Thompson helps maintain through aggressive enforcement, targeting anyone who doesn't fit his narrow definition of belonging. His personnel file, if anyone bothered to read it carefully, contains numerous complaints of racial profiling. Each complaint mysteriously disappeared or was dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Thompson's radio crackles with routine traffic as he cruises his territory. His eyes constantly scan for what he calls anomalies. People of color and expensive cars, anyone who doesn't match his mental image of who belongs in this paradise of privilege. Today, like every day, he's hunting for someone to remind about their proper place in his version of social order. The morning sun climbs higher, casting long shadows across perfectly paved streets. Garden sprinklers whisper across emerald lawns while domestic workers, mostly Hispanic women, arrive for their daily cleaning duties. They drive older, modest vehicles and enter through back doors, invisible to residents who benefit from their labor. Jenkins's Mercedes approaches the main thoroughfare, maintaining the speed limit through the residential zone. Her military training extends to civilian driving. Follow every rule, respect every law, give no one any excuse for confrontation. She's learned through painful experience that excellence must be twice as good to be considered half as adequate. The GPS on her dashboard shows the remaining distance to the police station. Jenkins reviews her briefing notes while stopped at a red light, preparing talking points about joint training exercises and community safety initiatives. She has no idea that behind her, Thompson has spotted her vehicle and is already constructing his justification for what he considers an obvious crime in progress. The stage is set for a collision between two worldviews, one built on merit and achievement, the other on prejudice and assumption. In moments, these two lives will intersect in ways that will change both forever. The Mercedes glides through Oakwood Heights like a ghost ship navigating hostile waters. Jenkins maintains perfect speed control. Her hands positioned at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel with military precision. Every turn signal activates well before each corner. Every stop comes to a complete halt behind white-painted lines. But perfection means nothing to Officer Brian Thompson. His patrol car lurks blocks behind. Close enough to track, but far enough to avoid detection. Thompson's jaw clenches as he watches the luxury sedan navigate his territory. The morning sun reflects off the Mercedes' chrome trim, creating flashes of light that seem to mock him with their brilliance. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7. Thompson speaks into his radio, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. "I've got a suspicious vehicle proceeding eastbound on Sycamore Lane. High-end Mercedes. Driver doesn't match neighborhood demographics." The radio crackles back. "Unit 7, do you observe any traffic violations?" Thompson's face flushes red. Negative on violations, but the vehicle fits the profile for recent luxury car thefts in the metro area. "I'm going to investigate." It's a lie, and Thompson knows it. There have been no luxury car thefts reported in weeks, but his time on the force has taught him exactly which phrases trigger automatic approval from dispatch. Suspicious vehicle and theft profile unlock the freedom to pursue his personal prejudices under the guise of professional duty. Jenkins checks her rear-view mirror and notices the patrol car maintaining distance behind her. Military training has sharpened her situational awareness to razor precision. She recognizes surveillance when she sees it, but maintains course toward the police station. She can handle whatever comes next. The Mercedes approaches a stop sign at the intersection of Sycamore Lane and Maple Avenue. Jenkins comes to a complete stop, counts to 3, checks both directions twice, then proceeds, textbook driving that would earn praise in any driving instructor's manual. Thompson sees opportunity. His patrol car surges forward, emergency lights exploding to life in a symphony of red and blue strobes. The siren's wail pierces the suburban tranquility like a blade through silk. Neighbors peek through curtains and step onto manicured lawns drawn by the promise of drama in their usually quiet paradise. Jenkins immediately signals right and pulls over onto the grass shoulder, careful not to damage anyone's pristine landscaping. She turns off the engine, places both hands on the steering wheel where they're clearly visible, and takes a deep breath. Years of military service have taught her de-escalation techniques, but she's also learned the harsh reality that compliance doesn't guarantee safety for someone who looks like her. Thompson approaches the Mercedes like a predator stalking wounded prey. His hand rests on his weapon, fingers drumming against the grip with nervous energy. Each step carries the weight of accumulated resentment toward people he believes don't deserve success. The tinted windows of the Mercedes prevent Thompson from seeing Jenkins clearly, but that doesn't matter. In his twisted worldview, the expensive car and the driver's race tell him everything he needs to know about what's happening here. License and registration. Thompson barks at the closed window, his voice carrying across the quiet neighborhood. "Get them out now!" Jenkins's voice comes through the glass, calm and measured. "Good morning, officer. I'm going to reach for my documents slowly. May I ask the reason for this stop?" I was following all traffic laws. The professional tone ignites Thompson's rage like gasoline on fire. In his experience, guilty people either cower in fear or explode in anger. Calm professionalism suggests education, confidence, and worst of all, the belief that she has rights worth protecting. "Don't give me that lawyer talk," Thompson snarls, moving closer to the window. "I know exactly what this is. Expensive car, tinted windows, driving through neighborhoods where you don't belong. We've had reports of car thefts in this area." Another lie flows as easily as breathing. Thompson has perfected the art of post hoc justification, creating probable cause through creative interpretation of innocent behavior. Jenkins maintains her composure despite the obvious racial profiling. "Officer, this is my personal vehicle. I have all the proper documentation, and I'm happy to provide it, but I need to understand the legal basis for this stop." Her military bearing shows even through the closed window. Straight posture, controlled breathing, hands positioned non-threateningly. But Thompson interprets her calm demeanor as arrogance that needs immediate correction. "Step out of the vehicle," Thompson commands, his voice rising to a shout that echoes off nearby houses. "Right now, don't make me tell you again." The neighbors gathering on their lawns represent Thompson's natural constituency. Affluent white homeowners who view him as their personal guardian against unwanted intrusion. Their presence emboldens him, making him feel justified in whatever actions follow. Mrs. Margaret Wilson from down the street clutches her pearls and whispers to her husband, "I knew something like this would happen. These people think they can just drive through here like they own the place." Mr. David Carter from across the street nods in agreement. About time someone did something. Property values are everything in a neighborhood like this. Their casual racism provides the soundtrack to Thompson's power trip. He feeds off their approval like a vampire drawing sustenance from willing victims. Jenkins recognizes the dangerous dynamic developing around her. A hostile officer, supportive neighbors, and her own isolation create the perfect storm for escalation. But military training has taught her that strategic retreat sometimes requires apparent surrender. "Officer, I'm going to comply with your request," Jenkins says through the window. "I'm wearing my military dress uniform, and I need you to know that I'm reaching for the door handle now." The mention of military service should give Thompson pause, but his prejudice has blinded him to any information that contradicts his assumptions. In his mind, she's either lying about military service or stolen the uniform to add credibility to her criminal enterprise. "I don't care what costume you're wearing," Thompson shouts back. "Military, police, whatever. Stolen uniforms don't impress me. Get out of that stolen car before I drag you out." Jenkins takes one final deep breath and opens the Mercedes door. Her polished military boots touch the asphalt first, followed by the rest of her imposing frame wrapped in the deep blue dress uniform of a United States Army Brigadier General. The morning sun catches every piece of metal on her uniform, the silver stars on her shoulders indicating general rank, the ribbons across her chest telling the story of distinguished service, the combat badges that mark her as a warrior who has seen real battle. For a moment, Thompson freezes completely. His brain struggles to process the cognitive dissonance between his racial assumptions and the undeniable symbols of authority and achievement standing before him. The uniform is clearly authentic, too detailed, too perfect, too expensive to be a costume or counterfeit. But that moment is all the time Thompson's prejudice needs to reassert control. His eyes dart to the Halloween decorations visible in nearby yards. Carved pumpkins, fake spider webs, plastic skeletons. The proximity of the holiday provides his racism with the perfect excuse to maintain his worldview, despite contradictory evidence. "Oh, this is rich." Thompson recovers with a harsh laugh that carries across the neighborhood. "Halloween is coming up, right? Nice costume. You almost had me fooled there for a second." Jenkins stands at perfect military attention, her bearing radiating the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to command. But Thompson sees only what his prejudice allows him to see, an elaborate deception designed to evade justice. "Where'd you get that uniform?" Thompson circles her like a shark, sensing blood. "Party store online. Pretty detailed for a fake, I'll give you that. The stars almost look real from this distance." The neighbors murmur their approval of Thompson's detective work. To them, his explanation makes perfect sense. Everyone knows that people like her don't become generals in the real army. The costume theory allows them to maintain their prejudices while feeling clever about exposing an obvious fraud. Jenkins maintains her military bearing despite the degrading treatment. Every fiber of her being wants to respond with the authority her rank deserves. But years of experience have taught her that escalation with armed hostile officers rarely ends well for people who look like her. Officer Thompson. She reads his name tag with calm precision. I am asking you to examine my military identification and contact Fort Moore to verify my identity before you make a mistake that will destroy your career. But Thompson has already made his decision. In his mind, she's not a decorated general deserving respect. She's a criminal in costume who needs to be taught a lesson about respecting authority and knowing her place. The confrontation has moved far beyond a simple traffic stop. This is now a collision between two incompatible worldviews, with Thompson's entire identity depending on proving that Jenkins's success must be fraudulent. The stage is set for escalation that will change both their lives forever. Real heroes died wearing uniforms like that. Thompson's voice cracks with indignation as he points an accusatory finger at Jenkins's chest full of ribbons. And here you are playing soldier dress-up to get out of a ticket. His face has turned deep crimson, veins bulging in his neck like angry rivers threatening to burst their banks. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the cool morning air, and his hands shake with barely contained fury. Jenkins remains motionless at attention, her military bearing unshakable even in the face of this public humiliation. Her Bronze Star ribbon catches the morning light, a decoration earned under enemy fire in Afghanistan. Now being dismissed as a Halloween prop by a small-town cop drunk on his own authority. You think I'm stupid? Thompson circles her slowly, his boots crunching on fallen autumn leaves. I've seen every trick in the book. Fake IDs, stolen medals, costume uniforms. You people always think you're so clever. The gathered neighbors nod approvingly from their safe distance. Mrs. Margaret Wilson clutches her iPhone, recording what she believes is a criminal being exposed. Mr. David Carter calls out from across the street, "That's right, officer. Show these troublemakers they can't fool decent people." Their casual endorsement of his behavior emboldens Thompson further. He feeds off their approval like an actor drawing energy from an appreciative audience. This isn't just law enforcement anymore. It's performance art for the privileged. Where'd you steal this car? Thompson slams his palm against the Mercedes hood, leaving a sweaty handprint on the pristine black paint. Some rich family's driveway, a dealership parking lot. Bet you thought nobody would notice a thief in costume driving through the good part of town. Jenkins's military training has prepared her for many hostile environments, but nothing quite like this. Enemy soldiers in combat zones at least operated under recognizable rules of engagement. This psychological warfare attacks her dignity, her service, and her very right to exist in this space. Officer Thompson, Jenkins speaks with measured authority. I strongly advise you to contact Fort Moore and verify my identity before you act. Thompson cuts her off with a dismissive wave. I'm calling backup to deal with a hostile suspect impersonating federal personnel. That's a felony, sweetheart. You just turned a simple traffic stop into federal prison time. He keys his radio with theatrical flourish. Dispatch, Unit 7 requesting immediate backup. I have a suspect in military costume driving a stolen vehicle, possibly armed and dangerous. The subject is becoming increasingly agitated and non-compliant. Every word is a lie. But Thompson delivers each fabrication with the practiced confidence of someone who has perfected the art of creative report writing. His radio traffic will become an official record, transforming Jenkins from victim to perpetrator through the magic of selective documentation. Jenkins listens to him systematically destroy her reputation over the airwaves. In military courts, such false reporting would result in court-martial and prison time. But Thompson operates in a different justice system, one where his word carries the weight of institutional authority regardless of truth. You're making a serious mistake. Jenkins maintains her calm tone despite the mounting pressure. I am Brigadier General Carla Jenkins, United States Army. My aide-de-camp is Colonel Robert Ellis at Fort Moore. One phone call will confirm everything. Thompson laughs so hard he doubles over, slapping his knee in exaggerated amusement. Brigadier General? Oh, that's perfect. What's next? Going to tell me you're the Secretary of Defense? The neighbors join his laughter, their prejudices validated by his performance. To them, the idea of a black woman achieving general rank seems as fantastical as claiming to be Superman. Their worldview simply cannot accommodate such success. Tell you what, General. Thompson makes air quotes around her rank, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Why don't you order me to let you go? Use that military authority you're pretending to have. Jenkins understands the trap. Any assertion of her actual authority will be twisted into evidence of aggressive behavior toward law enforcement. Her military bearing, meant to command respect, becomes proof of arrogance in Thompson's narrative. 2 patrol cars arrive with sirens wailing, their emergency lights painting the suburban scene in alternating red and blue. Officers Mark Peterson and Anthony Ramirez emerge with hands on weapons, their faces tense with anticipation of confronting a dangerous criminal. "What's the situation?" Officer Ramirez asks, his eyes locked on Jenkins as if she might explode into violence at any moment. "Stolen vehicle impersonating military personnel, possible drugs." Thompson rattles off his fabricated charges. "She's got this elaborate costume trying to convince me she's some kind of general. Pretty good fake, but not good enough." Officer Peterson examines Jenkins's uniform with suspicious eyes. "Wow, that is detailed. Where do they even sell stuff this realistic?" "Internet, probably," Thompson answers. "You can buy anything online these days. Military surplus stores, Halloween specialty shops. She probably paid good money for this setup." Jenkins watches her credibility evaporate in real time. 3 armed officers now view her as a criminal, their hands positioned for quick weapon access. The mathematical reality becomes clear. Her word against theirs, her truth against their shared delusion. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to remove that uniform." Officer Ramirez announces, "We need to determine what is costume and what might be stolen military property." The demand hits Jenkins like a physical blow. Stripping her of the uniform would be the ultimate humiliation, reducing her from decorated general to nearly naked suspect in full view of the gathered neighbors. The psychological warfare has escalated to complete dehumanization. "I will not remove my uniform," Jenkins states firmly. "This is my dress blues earned through years of distinguished service to my country. I demand to speak with your supervisor immediately." Thompson steps closer, invading her personal space with practiced intimidation. "You don't get to make demands, lady. You're under arrest for multiple felonies. We can do this easy or hard, but that costume is coming off one way or another." The smell of his coffee breath mingles with cheap cologne and nervous sweat. Jenkins can see the pores on his flushed face, the broken blood vessels around his nose, the yellow stains on his teeth. This close, his hatred becomes almost tangible. "Sir, I need to search your vehicle for contraband," Officer Peterson announces, approaching the Mercedes with latex gloves already snapped over his hands. "We have probable cause based on the stolen vehicle report and drug indicators." "There is no stolen vehicle report," Jenkins responds evenly. "And there are no drug indicators. This is racial profiling, pure and simple." Her words hang in the air like an accusation none of them want to acknowledge. The phrase racial profiling creates uncomfortable silence among the officers, forcing them to confront the obvious truth of what's happening. But Thompson quickly fills the silence with renewed aggression. "Playing the race card won't save you now. We've got evidence of criminal behavior, and your little costume party is over." Officer Peterson begins searching the Mercedes interior, pulling out Jenkins' military briefcase and personal belongings. He holds up her Pentagon building access card and military challenge coin like evidence exhibits. "Look at this stuff," Peterson calls out. "She's got military IDs, base access cards, the whole 9 yards. This is serious federal crime territory. The irony would be laughable if it weren't so terrifying. Jenkins's legitimate credentials become proof of her criminal enterprise in their twisted logic. Success equals guilt. Achievement equals theft. Her very excellence becomes evidence against her." Thompson pulls out his handcuffs, metal gleaming in the morning sun like instruments of torture. "Turn around and put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for grand theft auto impersonating federal personnel and possession of stolen government property." Jenkins faces her moment of truth. Compliance means accepting false arrest and public humiliation. Resistance means providing them with justification for violence. Military training has taught her tactical thinking, but no strategy works when the system itself is corrupted. "Officer Thompson." She makes one final attempt at reason. "My military identification is in my uniform pocket. Examine it carefully. Call the phone numbers. Verify my identity before you destroy both our careers." But Thompson has passed the point of no return. His entire identity depends on proving her guilt. Admitting error now would mean acknowledging his own racism and incompetence, psychological impossibilities for someone so invested in his own superiority. Last chance, Thompson advances with handcuffs ready. Turn around voluntarily or we'll turn you around forcibly. The gathered neighbors watch with anticipation, their phones recording what they believe is justice being served. In their minds, this confrontation validates every prejudice, confirms every assumption, and justifies every fear about people who don't look like them succeeding beyond their designated place. Jenkins reaches slowly into her uniform pocket, her movements deliberate and non-threatening. Her fingers close around her military identification card, not a plastic costume prop, but an official Department of Defense ID, with holographic security features and classified clearance indicators. The moment of ultimate truth approaches. Will Thompson's prejudice prove stronger than documented reality? Can institutional racism survive direct confrontation with undeniable evidence? Jenkins prepares to find out. Jenkins extends her military identification card toward Thompson with the precision of a surgeon offering a scalpel. The morning sun catches the holographic security features embedded in the official Department of Defense document, creating rainbow patterns that dance across its surface. Thompson snatches the ID with contemptuous confidence, expecting to expose another piece of elaborate costume jewelry, but his smirk falters as his fingers register the card's weight and texture. This isn't plastic from a novelty store. It's the real thing, heavy with embedded electronics and security features impossible to counterfeit. "Nice try with the fake," Thompson says, but his voice wavers slightly as he examines the sophisticated holographic seals. They're making these costume accessories really detailed these days. Officer Ramirez steps closer, his curiosity piqued by Thompson's hesitation. "Let me see that," he requests, extending his hand. As a military veteran himself, Ramirez recognizes authentic government documentation when he sees it. His face changes the moment the ID touches his fingers. The magnetic strip, the classified clearance codes, the expiration date in the future. Every detail screams authenticity. Ramirez's eyes widen as he reads the rank designation, BG Carla Jenkins, U.S. Army Thompson. Ramirez's voice carries new uncertainty. This looks legitimate. The security features are too sophisticated to fake. But Thompson cannot afford doubt now. His entire worldview depends on Jenkins being a criminal. Admitting error would mean acknowledging that his racist assumptions led him to assault a federal officer, a career-ending, life-destroying mistake. "Come on, Ramirez," Thompson forces a laugh. "You really think someone like her could be a general? Use your head, man. It's Halloween. She probably ordered this online for a good price." Jenkins recognizes the critical moment. These officers stand at the crossroads between truth and comfortable delusion. She speaks with the quiet authority of someone accustomed to commanding respect from subordinates. "Sergeant Ramirez, I'm ordering you to contact Fort Moore immediately. Ask for Colonel Robert Ellis, my aide-de-camp. He will verify my identity, rank, and current mission status." The word ordering hits Ramirez like lightning. In military culture, you don't give orders unless you have the authority to back them up. Her tone carries the unmistakable weight of command presence, something that cannot be faked or learned from costume shops. Ramirez pulls out his phone with trembling fingers. "What's the number again, ma'am?" "Fort Moore main switchboard." Jenkins repeats with military precision. "Tell them you need immediate verification of Brigadier General Carla Jenkins's identity and location." Thompson watches in growing panic as Ramirez dials. Everything depends on this phone call. If Jenkins is who she claims to be, his career is over. Worse, he could face federal charges for assaulting a military officer. His pension, his freedom, his entire future hangs in the balance. The phone rings before a crisp voice answers. Colonel Ellis speaking. Ramirez puts the call on speaker, his hand shaking slightly. "Colonel, this is Sergeant Ramirez with Oakwood Heights Police Department. I need to verify the identity of someone claiming to be Brigadier General Carla Jenkins." "General Jenkins?" The voice on the phone sharpens with concern. What's the nature of this verification request? Is the general in some kind of trouble? The gathered neighbors lean closer, their casual racism giving way to growing uncertainty. The voice on the phone sounds official, professional, concerned, not the reaction expected if this were an elaborate hoax. "Sir, we have someone in military uniform claiming to be General Jenkins." Ramirez explains carefully. "She says she's en route to meet with our police chief about joint training exercises." "That's correct." Colonel Ellis confirms immediately. General Jenkins left Fort Moore for a scheduled meeting with Chief Collins. She's wearing dress blues as required for a ceremony later this afternoon. May I ask why you're questioning her identity? The silence that follows feels heavy enough to crush souls. Thompson stares at the phone like it's transformed into a venomous snake. Officer Peterson's hand slowly moves away from his weapon. The neighbors stop recording, sensing that their entertainment has become something darker. Colonel, Ramirez continues, his voice barely above a whisper. Can you describe General Jenkins for verification purposes? African-American female wearing dress blue uniform with Brigadier General rank insignia. She commands the Regional National Guard Division and is a Bronze Star recipient. Is there a problem, Sergeant? Thompson's face drains of all color. The phone verification matches every detail he can see standing before him. The stars on Jenkins's shoulders aren't costume jewelry. They're the real symbols of federal military authority. The ribbons across her chest tell the story of genuine heroism, not Halloween dress-up. Jenkins watches the exact moment when reality crashes through Thompson's wall of prejudice. His eyes widen with the dawning recognition of his catastrophic error. His hand moves unconsciously to his badge as if feeling its weight for the last time. Sir, Ramirez's voice cracks with stress. I believe we have a situation here that requires immediate supervisory attention. Colonel Ellis's tone becomes sharp with command authority. Sergeant Ramirez, what exactly is happening to General Jenkins? I want a detailed explanation right now. The power dynamic has completely reversed in the span of a single phone call. Jenkins is no longer a suspected criminal. She's a federal officer who has been illegally detained, publicly humiliated, and threatened with arrest by local law enforcement. Thompson realizes that every word he spoke, every action he took has been recorded by multiple cameras. His racist tirade is now evidence in what will become a federal civil rights case. His attempts to strip her uniform will be viewed as assault on a military officer. The handcuffs in his hands feel heavy. Officer Peterson steps backward, creating distance between himself and the unfolding disaster. His involvement in the illegal search will require explanation to federal investigators who don't share local prejudices. Jenkins maintains her military bearing, but her eyes now carry the unmistakable authority of her rank. She's no longer a victim being processed. She's a general officer who has been gravely wronged by the very people sworn to protect and serve. The morning sun continues to shine on Oakwood Heights, but the shadows have shifted. What began as routine racial profiling has become a federal incident that will reach the highest levels of government. Thompson stares at Jenkins with the hollow expression of a man watching his life collapse in real time. Officer Thompson, step away from General Jenkins immediately. Sergeant Ramirez's voice cuts through the morning air like a blade, his military training overriding departmental loyalty. His hand moves to his radio with practiced urgency. Thompson stands frozen, handcuffs dangling from his fingers like instruments of destruction. Sweat pours down his face in visible streams, his uniform shirt clinging to his back with panic-induced dampness. Ramirez, you can't be serious, Thompson whispers. People like her don't become generals. Ramirez activates his radio. Dispatch, Unit 12 needs immediate supervisory response. Federal incident requiring command presence. Colonel Ellis's voice continues from the speakerphone. Sergeant Ramirez, I want to speak directly with General Jenkins to confirm her safety. Jenkins steps forward with commanding presence. Colonel Ellis, this is General Jenkins. I am unharmed, but have been subjected to racial profiling, illegal detention, and threats by Officer Thompson. Her words transform the scene from local police matter to federal civil rights violation. Thompson realizes his racist tirade was recorded by his own body camera, evidence for federal prosecutors. General, I'm contacting base security immediately. Colonel Ellis responds. This incident will be reported to the Pentagon. Officer Peterson, who searched Jenkins's car, backs away slowly. His hands shake as he realizes every piece of evidence he collected is legitimate military property he unlawfully seized. Police Chief Edward Collins's patrol car arrives with flashing lights, followed by the mayor's sedan. Both emerge with expressions of barely controlled panic, understanding this incident could destroy careers and trigger federal oversight. What is happening here? Chief Collins demands, strain evident in his voice. Ramirez hands him Jenkins's military ID with trembling fingers. Chief, Officer Thompson stopped and detained Brigadier General Carla Jenkins on suspicion of driving a stolen vehicle. Chief Collins' face goes white examining the ID. As a veteran officer, he recognizes federal identification and understands the legal implications. Officer Thompson. Chief Collins' voice carries deadly calm. Remove your weapon and badge immediately. You are suspended pending investigation. Thompson's world collapses with metal hitting asphalt. His service weapon and badge, symbols of authority used to terrorize Jenkins, now lie in grass like discarded toys. His time on the force ended in minutes of racist stupidity. General Jenkins, Chief Collins approaches with cautious respect. I offer sincere apologies for this inexcusable treatment. This does not represent our department's values. Jenkins shifts into a commanding presence that earned her stars. Chief Collins. This officer used racial slurs, threatened violence, conducted illegal searches, and attempted to strip my uniform publicly. This was criminal behavior, not training failure. Mayor Susan Bailey arrives calculating political damage. A federal lawsuit during election year could end her career and bankrupt the city. General Jenkins, on behalf of the city, I formally apologize and commit to full cooperation with any federal investigation, the mayor announces, knowing cameras record every word. Thompson watches his life implode from a distance. His pension is gone, his career finished. Federal charges loom like storm clouds. The neighbors who cheered his racist performance slip back into houses, suddenly aware their phones recorded them endorsing federal crimes. Property values and community reputation hang in balance as news vans arrive. Officer Ramirez secures all body camera footage and civilian recordings as evidence. The FBI Civil Rights Division will treat this as priority given Jenkins's rank and clear racial bias documentation. Jenkins maintains military bearing while processing trauma of public humiliation. Her composure sends a clear message. She will not be intimidated or silenced. Justice is coming, swift and irreversible. After the incident, FBI Special Agent Rachel Morales arrives at the Oakwood Heights Police Department with a briefcase full of federal warrants. Her heels click against the polished floors like a countdown timer measuring Thompson's remaining freedom. The Civil Rights Division doesn't waste time on cases this clear-cut. Video evidence from multiple angles, audio recordings of racial slurs, and the victim's federal military status create a prosecutor's dream scenario. Thompson has handed them a textbook civil rights violation wrapped in a bow. Brian Thompson, you are under arrest for violation of civil rights under color of law, assault on a federal officer, false imprisonment, and filing false police reports. Agent Morales announces as handcuffs click around Thompson's wrists. The same metal restraints he threatened to use on Jenkins now secure his own hands behind his back. Thompson's face crumbles as he's walked through the same hallways where he once strutted with authority. His fellow officers avoid eye contact, unwilling to associate with someone who brought federal scrutiny to their department. The thin blue line has abandoned him completely. Federal Judge Elizabeth Grant presides over Thompson's arraignment via video link from her chambers. Her voice carries the weight of constitutional authority as she reads the charges. The defendant is accused of violating federal law, deprivation of rights under color of law, punishable by up to life imprisonment. Thompson's court-appointed attorney, overwhelmed by the evidence, enters a plea of not guilty despite knowing conviction is inevitable. The body camera footage, civilian recordings, and Jenkins's live stream create an unbreakable chain of evidence documenting every moment of criminal behavior. CNN breaks the story first. Racist cop arrests black general claims uniform is Halloween costume. The headline spreads across social media like wildfire, generating millions of views and nationwide outrage. Hashtag General Justice begins trending as Americans express fury at Thompson's behavior. The Washington Post assigns their best investigative team to examine Thompson's career. What they discover is a pattern of racial profiling, so extensive it defies belief. Numerous traffic stops of minorities versus few of white drivers in a community that's mostly white. Internal Affairs detective uncovers the cover-up that enabled Thompson's behavior. 3 different supervisors buried complaints, deleted body camera footage, and falsified reports to protect him. Email chains reveal explicit discussions about managing racial profiling accusations. We can't let every complaint from these people destroy good officers, reads one email from a supervisor. Thompson keeps the undesirables out of our community. The supervisors face immediate termination and federal charges for conspiracy to violate civil rights. The rot in Oakwood Heights PD extends far beyond one racist officer. A congressman demands congressional hearings. When a decorated general can be humiliated for driving while black, every American's civil rights are under attack, he declares from the House floor. The Armed Services Committee announces a comprehensive review of military-civilian law enforcement interactions. Jenkins's attorney, civil rights legend Michael Reynolds, files a substantial federal lawsuit against Thompson, the police department, and the city. The complaint reads like a textbook case of institutional racism backed by overwhelming evidence. This wasn't an isolated incident, Reynolds tells reporters gathered on the courthouse steps. This was the inevitable result of a department that systematically targeted people of color for years with complete impunity. The trial becomes a national television event. Court TV provides gavel-to-gavel coverage as federal prosecutor Morales methodically destroys Thompson's defense. The Halloween costume excuse becomes a national punchline, making Thompson a symbol of racism's absurdity. Expert witness Dr. Angela Thompson testifies about the psychological impact of racial profiling on high-achieving minorities. General Jenkins succeeded despite institutional barriers only to be humiliated by the very system she served. This represents the continuation of historical patterns designed to remind Black Americans of their supposed place. Thompson's defense attorney attempts character witnesses, but former colleagues refuse to testify. His social media history reveals years of racist posts, including images of lynching accompanied by laughing emojis. The jury sees a man consumed by hatred, not someone who made an honest mistake. Military expert Colonel Robert Hayes, Jenkins's former commander, provides devastating testimony about her character and achievements. General Jenkins represents the best of American military leadership. She commanded troops in combat zones with distinction. To see her treated like a criminal is an insult to every service member. The prosecution plays Thompson's radio communications in their entirety. His lies to dispatch, his fabricated probable cause, and his systematic construction of false charges demonstrate premeditation rather than split-second judgment error. Jury selection eliminated anyone sympathetic to Thompson's worldview. 12 citizens representing America's diversity hear evidence so overwhelming that deliberation becomes a formality. Guilty verdicts on all counts arrive after a brief discussion. Federal Judge Elizabeth Grant's sentencing hearing draws national attention. Victim impact statements from Jenkins and Thompson's previous targets create a powerful narrative of systemic abuse finally meeting accountability. Mr. Thompson, your actions represent everything wrong with American policing. Judge Grant declares, you used your badge to terrorize citizens based on race, then attempted to humiliate a decorated general who risked her life defending the Constitution you swore to uphold. The gavel falls with finality. A lengthy term in federal prison, lifetime ban from law enforcement, forfeiture of pension benefits, and mandatory restitution to victims. Thompson collapses as bailiffs approach. Federal prison awaits where his law enforcement background makes him a target for violence from inmates he once helped convict. Justice has a particular irony for corrupt cops. The Department of Justice announces a consent decree placing Oakwood Heights PD under federal oversight, mandatory bias training, civilian review boards, and enhanced accountability measures become requirements for continued operation. Officer Ramirez, who recognized Jenkins's legitimacy and intervened, receives a promotion and becomes the poster child for professional law enforcement. His actions during the crisis earn respect and demonstrate that good cops can make a difference. Congress passes the General Jenkins Act, requiring enhanced penalties for racially motivated police misconduct and federal oversight of departments with discrimination patterns. Jenkins testifies during the signing ceremony, her presence lending moral authority to legislative reform. The financial consequences destroy Thompson personally. Legal fees consume his savings, and victim compensation claims eliminate any remaining assets. His family faces social ostracism and financial ruin as consequences of his criminal choices. Oakwood Heights settles Jenkins's lawsuit for a large sum, the largest police misconduct settlement in state history. The money funds the Jenkins Foundation for Police Reform, ensuring her experience creates lasting change rather than just personal compensation. The supervisors who enabled Thompson receive federal sentences. Their careers, pensions, and reputations lie in ruins, proving that institutional racism carries consequences for everyone who participates. The case becomes required study material in police academies nationwide. Thompson's mugshot appears in textbooks alongside cautionary tales about how racism destroys lives, both victim and perpetrator. Sometime later, Major General Carla Jenkins stands at the National Press Club podium, her promotion reflecting respect earned through grace under pressure. Behind her, a photograph shows the same Mercedes that triggered Thompson's racist assumptions, now displayed in the Smithsonian's African American History Museum. Morning light catches her new 2-star insignia, silver symbols no amount of prejudice could prevent. Her voice carries the quiet authority of someone who transformed personal trauma into national progress. That October morning exposed a truth many Americans prefer to ignore. Jenkins begins, "Success doesn't protect any of us from racism. The color of our skin remains the first thing some people see and the only thing they judge." The audience, senators, civil rights leaders, police chiefs, listens intently. Jenkins has become more than a victim who achieved justice. She's a symbol of dignified resistance and systemic change. The Jenkins Foundation for Police Reform has impacted numerous departments nationwide. Bias training programs, civilian oversight boards, and enhanced accountability measures spread across America like ripples from a stone dropped in still water. Thompson serves his sentence in federal prison, where his law enforcement background makes each day a survival struggle. Recent interviews reveal no genuine remorse, only conspiracy theories and bitter resentment toward the justice system he once represented. His family relocated multiple times to escape community shame. His children face questions about their father's crimes at school. His wife works multiple jobs, paying legal debts while their home enters foreclosure. Racism's destruction extends beyond its primary target. Oakwood Heights underwent dramatic transformation. New leadership implemented community policing reforms, diversity initiatives, and economic development supporting minority-owned businesses. The neighborhood symbolizing exclusion now hosts annual diversity celebrations. Officer Ramirez, promoted for his intervention, trains recruits using Jenkins's case as a cornerstone example. Recognition of authority and human dignity isn't optional, he tells each academy class. It's the foundation of legitimate policing. Several universities established Jenkins Fellowship programs for minority students pursuing criminal justice careers. Her experience demonstrates that systemic change requires representatives within institutions, not just outside pressure. Congressional testimony leading to the General Jenkins Act has been viewed millions of times online. Her response about forgiveness, "I forgive the man, but won't forget the system that enabled him," became a reform movement rallying cry. Police departments nationwide report increased sensitivity, training participation, and reduced complaint rates following the case. Good cops appreciate clearer standards, while bad actors recognize enhanced consequences. Jenkins's Mercedes sits behind protective glass in Washington, its condition preserved for future generations. A placard reads, "This vehicle's owner was stopped for driving too fancy while black," a reminder that character must overcome skin color. The exhibit draws thousands of monthly visitors sharing their own discrimination stories in the guest book. Jenkins's experience resonates because it represents countless untold encounters between prejudice and dignity. Share this story if you believe every American deserves respect regardless of race. Jenkins concludes her press conference. Subscribe to channels amplifying voices demanding justice. Comment with your experiences. Silence enables oppression while truth creates change. Her challenge extends beyond passive observation. How can we better prepare communities to recognize and confront racism? What are you willing to do when witnessing injustice? The questions hang like moral imperatives demanding personal response. Jenkins learned that individual courage combined with institutional integrity can overcome hatred, but only when good people choose action over apathy. Use hashtags General Justice and Too Fancy for Racism to continue these conversations. Real change happens when we refuse silence about injustice, regardless of how uncomfortable truth feels. Jenkins closes with her signature words, "I didn't serve combat tours and earn these stars to be humiliated on American streets. But I did serve so stories like mine could be told, justice pursued, and future generations might face less prejudice." The applause is sustained and heartfelt. But Jenkins knows true victory isn't measured in standing ovations. It's counted in policies changed, minds opened, and young people inspired to build a more just society. The question haunting every American remains, If a decorated general can be humiliated for driving while black, what hope do ordinary citizens have? More importantly, what are you willing to do to change this reality? In the quiet suburbs of Oakwood Heights, a decorated general in full dress uniform stood humiliated by the side of the road simply because her skin was dark and her car was too nice. That single moment shattered any illusion that success alone could shield us from prejudice. Brigadier General Carla Jenkins had earned her stars through blood, sweat, and 3 combat deployments, yet none of that mattered to a bitter officer who saw only color and assumed the worst. Her calm dignity in the face of raw hatred, the way she refused to break even when her uniform and her honor were mocked as a Halloween costume, reminds us of a painful truth. No amount of achievement can protect us from the blindness of bias. But her story also shines with hope. When one man's prejudice collided with undeniable excellence and courage, the truth eventually won. Justice was served, reforms were born, and a foundation was created to heal what hate had broken. This is the powerful lesson life teaches us. Real strength isn't just surviving injustice, it's refusing to let it define you or dim your light. It's choosing grace under fire and turning pain into purpose so others won't have to suffer the same wound. Carla Jenkins didn't just win her case, she helped change the system that tried to break her. If this story moved you, if it made your heart ache and then swell with pride, please share your own experiences in the comments below. Have you or someone you love ever faced judgment that had nothing to do with who you truly are? What did you learn from it? Let's keep this important conversation alive. And if you believe in stories that inspire real change, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Together, we can amplify voices that demand dignity for every American, no matter the color of their skin. Your support means the world. Thank you for standing with truth and justice.